I'm Eileen Nash. Join me every week as we meet interesting people who will teach you new, creative ways to manage stress and embrace vitality in your life. Grab a cup of tea and join me for this adventure. It is my pleasure to introduce the incomparable Elizabeth Gibbons. She has mastered the art of embellishment, which is a mindful practice of applying adornment to already beautiful paintings in a mindful way. Hi, we're talking today with Elizabeth Gibbons, and she is a visionary artist here in San Francisco, and she has created the Palace of the Soul, where she gives workshops. She is an intentional creativity teacher and certified teacher and coach. And today we're going to be talking about the art of embellishment. And so can you tell us a few words about embellishment, like what it is and how people could use it?
Yes, I would love to. So I consider the use of beads and glitter to be a way that we honor ourselves and that we come to understand how spirit exists in matter. It's really about enchantment and play and divine sparkle and uniting heaven and earth. And if you look back historically through time, beads and embellishment have often been used to honor priests and priestesses, leaders of the world, queens and kings, shamans. And so historically there's an ancient tradition of using beads and jewels and glitter to honor and to make a statement about the divine, sacred part of you that exists within each of us.
And so I've seen your work, it's so beautiful, but a person can just take a photograph, let's say of a family member or a favorite pet or anything really, and can just try this out. And you were telling me about the process, about how it's mindful, and can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah, so when I teach my classes, I blend mysticism and spirituality and energy work and playfulness, and we also use mindfulness, bringing that as you're embellishing your piece or adding glitter to it, just bringing the intention of the honoring, and it becomes like a meditation or a prayer. And I do believe that sparkle and working with materials that reflect light are actually like an antidepressant. So I call it gliteracy. And I think if we were to actually wire up our brains, we would see that the light is giving off good chemicals and good feelings in our brain. We know that light is the language of the soul. And so when we connect with that, we're really connecting with our own divine soul.
So, Elizabeth, when we talk about the art of embellishment, you've been doing this for a while. And what materials do you work with?
So I work with beads and glitter, and this one actually is
beautiful.
An example. And there's little micro beads, and then there's different kinds of glitter. So you have like chunky glitter and fine glitter and vintage glass. And this one actually has collage as well. So it's really fun to play with the different kinds of textures, because depending upon the like the size of the beads of the glitter, the light reflects differently. And it's almost as if the pieces come alive.
That's what I was just thinking.
I just became very fascinated with how you could use light reflective materials to create this movement in works of art. And I feel like it really mirrors the journey of the human soul, of how we go through life. It's really about the ancient way of the alchemists that believed that spirit exists in matter. And that is always the premise upon which I do my work and do my teachings. And
so now, does someone have to have been in art school or something to do this kind of work?
not at all. It's a very simple technique, which I'm very excited to share with you a little bit later on. We're going to work on one of your Prince paintings.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Alchemical Woman. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. And we'll show you, this is an easily accessible art form.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about design and balance on your pieces with the embellishment. So I have here a large painting that I have done. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of embellishment down here, and then more up here, and then sort of around here that draws your eye around. And on this area here, I've used the little micro beads and then an alchemical mixture with vintage glass and beads, and some of the chunky glitter and also the fine glitter. So it gives it just a really nice texture that's just yummy and delicious to look at. If I had just done this part though, without doing anything up here, your eye would just be drawn to this because of the bling and glitter, and it might not be drawn into the rest of the painting. So that's just something that you can play with and experiment with to see how it works. This is actually shattered safety glass that I have used up here, and a vintage pin. You can play with that as well. I use the same glue, this designer dries clear adhesive from artglitter.com, which is absolutely amazing. It works for the shattered safety glass, it works for the micro beads and all different types of glitter. And then in the cracks of the safety glass, I have used glitter. So you can just take your little tip and put glue in there and add glitter in there, and it gives it an extra special sparkling element. And I just wanted to show you a couple of other things. There is gold leaf. This one has gold leaf, and there's gold leaf here. Now that is another technique. You cannot use that glue for that. And that's a more advanced technique, which I hope to have the opportunity to show you one day. And here, the same thing, what you can do with the vintage, the micro beads and the glitter, and you just do it section by section, and you want to make sure that you dry each section before you move on to the next section. I want to show you another piece of what's possible. So on this one, I have actually used beads to shade the face and some vintage pins and glass. And as I said, these can all be glued on with the designer dries clear adhesive, and it's quite magical. So I want to encourage you to try it out and have a wonderful time playing with Sparkle and Dazzle. May it light up your life and bring in more and more enchantment and magic. Thank you so much. So this door is actually the door off the front of my home. And many, many years ago, when I was going through a very difficult time in my life, I was having health challenges. I was in the middle of a divorce. It was a time of great loss. I realized that my front door, I learned somewhere that in feng shui, the front door is a really important symbol for your life and for your health. And so I decided to take down the front door because it was just plain bare wood, and to add some color to it and to embellish it. And because I believe in intentional creativity, I did it all with a prayer and a blessing and the intention of creating healing for myself. And actually it became a sacred journey that lasted for many, many years. And I kept adding more and more things to it, and the symbolism, as often happens with intentional creativity, started to weave in with my inner wisdom and to bring me messages. And I realized that it was becoming a symbol, an icon of transformation, and it started to be exhibited in various different places in art galleries, and it really captured people's imagination. They were just captivated with it. And as time went on, I realized that for me, it was part of my purpose in life and with doing art was to share inspiration and to help others to open up to possibilities, to expand their energy and to open up to possibilities, especially in the face of loss. And this door became dedicated to my father's life. My father was bipolar, and tragically his life ended in a suicide. And so my art and my creativity is my gift to the world and to you, to inspire you to open up to possibilities, even in the hard times and even in the face of loss and fear. I think that we are so inclined to sort of, close in upon ourselves and retract our energy field when we are faced with something really challenging or painful. And so today I just want to invite you to consider a new way of walking in the world, a new way of being, and really allowing yourself to take a moment when you're facing something painful or tragic or difficult and expand your energy and open up to new possibilities. And although it's trite, when one door closes, another door opens. So I'd like to take you on a very brief meditation to expand your energy and to walk with me through the door of possibilities. So I invite you to just close your eyes and just imagine that 300 feet above your head, there's a magical doorway. And this magical doorway is going to open up and the light is going to stream through. This is the light of your soul, of divine source, of whatever it is in your tradition. And now imagine that your crown chakra, the top of your head, is like a little moon roof. And it's just opening up to allow this light to flow into you, just like liquid light. And just allow it to come into your head and into your eyes, into your third chakra, coming into your ears, and maybe swirling around like a little vacuum and just clearing out any dense negative energy that wants to leave, just gently clearing it out, coming into your throat chakra, just noticing as the light comes through if there's any tense places in your body, and then just allowing them gently to soften and release, coming into your heart and into your stomach, opening up any places that you feel that you may have been sucker punched and just clearing those out, into your hips, grounding you, and imagine this light is continuing down your legs and into the center of the planet, connecting to the great Mother Earth energy, grounding you in the earth, and inviting in this delicious, nurturing, loving energy, and imagining that there's a trampoline down there and it's just bouncing back up into your legs, into your hips, and back up into your heart. So the light is coming from above, the light is coming from below. And imagine now that your heart is like a big central sun. And if you like, just put your hands on your heart and send yourself a blessing of love. And allow that light to just expand out. Imagine that it's filling your whole field of energy with love and joy and peace and ease, grace. And imagine that it's expanding out into the room. It's expanding out into the city or town or place where you are. It's expanding out past the state you're in, past the country, and out into the cosmos. And you're sending this beautiful, loving, healing light out to all beings. Imagine that you are right here in this room with me, and I invite you to walk through the door of possibilities with me.
Thank you. So now we're going to move into the creative piece on how to use the art of embellishment. So can you lead us?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So what you want to have on hand for your embellishment, you want to have, my favorite kind of glue for doing embellishment is Designer Dries Clear Adhesive. And you can get this on www.artglitter.com. And they also have an amazing array of wonderful different kinds of glitter and beads, which you see some of here. And you can also get micro beads, and this is like a tinsel paper. This is Martha Stewart. You can get it on her website or Amazon.
Michaels.
Michaels, yep. Then Art Glitter has these bottles are actually wonderful because they have a very fine tip, and so the glue goes on very easy, and that's one of the reasons I love them. And then you can also get on Art Glitter, this is a very fine metal tip, and you can screw that onto the top when you want to get a very fine line. And I'm going to show you how to do all that in just a moment. So you will also need plastic ice cream spoons, Q-tips, paper towel, some straight pins, that's to help you put that in there after you use your glue so it doesn't clog, and coffee filters. So the coffee filters are for catching the excess glitter. So we are going to work here on Eileen's beautiful chiclet of the Alchemical Woman. Just bring your mindfulness to this process of honoring your alchemical woman. And would you like to share an intention?
Well, when I first did this, I was in Color of Woman training, and this particular painting, it's actually a very big painting. It's about self-love. It's about bringing focus in 2017.
And I love that she's about self-love because that's perfect for this process. So we're waking up her sparkle and her soul shine so that she can share it out in the world.
Great.
So
she's ready.
She's ready, all right. So you talked about, when we spoke earlier, about embellishing the leaves.
Right, so I'm thinking about these leaves. I don't want to work her face because I would never be able to get the shading right, I feel like. And I don't want to cover the entire painting. I just want to highlight it. Each of the symbols, we've talked about in other shows, that each symbol has a meaning. The heart, the flowers, the owl, the bow, this soul fire coming out of the heart, then this sort of aura around her head, and even the tree. Everything on here really has a meaning. But I think today I want to work with the bow and the leaves.
Okay, great. But right now what we want to do is share with you the process so that you know how to do it, and then you can play around with it on your own. And this is a great way to do it on a print or a photograph, a copy of a photograph, so you can try it out and see if you like it before you commit to doing it on a original painting, because once you add the embellishment, it's not coming off.
Yeah.
It's a commitment.
I'm brave today.
Yeah, she's brave. Okay, so we have some different colors of green. So this is an ultra-fine glitter called Emerald, and this is another ultra-fine glitter called Celery. And what I do sometimes, because I don't have a color that exactly matches her green, and that's totally fine. What you could do, if you like, my suggestion would be, is to create what I call an alchemical mixture.
That's perfect for Alchemical Woman.
Exactly. So you can just take a little bit of each of the colors and mix them together in a little plastic cup. And you can also add microbeads if you like. So then you take your glue, and if you have used your glue before, you're going to have a straight pin in there. Before you put it onto the canvas, you want to take a piece of paper towel and just squeeze out a little bit and make sure it's running clear and make sure it's running well, and kind of get a sense of how hard you have to squeeze, because otherwise you might squeeze it out onto your canvas and get a big glob, or once in a while the part inside the tip gets a little brown from the pin, so you want to get that part out first before you add the glue. And this does dry clear, so don't worry that it's going to look white when you first do it. And so what you want to do is you just want to put the glue on the area that you are embellishing. So I'm going to do a few of these leaves, and you don't want to do too much. You don't want to add too much wet glue at once. You want to do section by section. Otherwise your glue can dry before you get to it. And the other thing is that you can smudge and mess up your process. But if you do it section by section and then dry it in between, then you won't do that. And you can use a blow dryer, so that's another tool, or a heat tool. So I'm just gonna take the glitter and sprinkle it on, just like you're sprinkling little decorations on a cake, onto the area where I've put the glue. Then you want to take your coffee filter and you're going to pick it up and you're going to just hit that so that the excess comes off. Sometimes I'll blow it. There are different types of glitter. So this is a ultra fine glitter, and this is what's called a dazzler. So it's chunky and thick. And so depending upon the kind of glitter that you use, it's going to have different light reflective properties. So that's something that you might want to consider when you're embellishing your piece. If you want something to really like have a lot of bling and power, you could use the dazzlers. If you want to be a little more subtle, use the fine. I'm actually going to put the this metal tip on there to make it a little bit easier for you to do the finer area, and you just want to screw it on, and then you need to test it. I always test it before I start.
Oh, yes, yes.
See, she got a little bubble, but that's okay. That's also why we have the Q-tips. So if you want to, you know, take off any of the glue, you can use a Q-tip to. So I just love the way that chunky glitter just gives that perfect power and bling to her bow. It's fabulous. So you can also do, just want to let you know that you can also use the same technique for doing the micro beads.
She knows I'm a daredevil.
All right. Okay. And then just put your micro beads on there. The same technique, you just sort of sprinkle them onto the wet glue. And
I told her earlier that I was afraid of the microbeads.
And they do go flying around a little bit, but that's okay. And one of the things I do with the microbeads and also the chunkier glitter is to lightly tap it down, just so those beads adhere to the painting, and then you can just do that. And you're gonna lose some, so some are gonna go flying.
That's the way of it.
And then you end up with these wonderful alchemical mixtures that you can use in other pieces. But you can see that it's really beautiful. She's got the fine glitter, the micro beads, and the chunky glitter, so it gives it a nice variation of texture there. And of course, when she completes that, so
I love it. I love it already. It's just so different. I just love it.
Yeah, it just adds that special magical enchantment to it, and I can almost feel her like getting happier.
I have goosebumps.
Bringing back that ancient memory of ours and bringing back the enchantment, really, as Thomas More speaks about in his book, The Re-Enchantment of Everyday Life. So can I read you a little quote from?
I would love it.
Yes. So, precious sparkling stones also evoke the theme of the scintilla, the spark of vitality that resides in material, natural, and artificial. This sparkle is a sign of the soul in matter, and reflecting the brilliance of the stars, it's an indication that the material world always contains something of the eternal. Perhaps this is one reason for giving a precious stone as a token of engagement and marriage. In, quote, On the Nature of the Psyche, unquote, Jung treats shine and sparkle as indicators of the very depth of the soul. Quoting several alchemists, he describes the soul of the world as scintillae or sparks identical with the Spirit of God. What is often lost in discussions of alchemy is the simple idea that today we can bring tokens of that divine spark into our everyday lives through the ordinary use of precious and sparkling stones. And I would add glitter to that.
Absolutely. Watch the next episode of Restore Your Caring Soul to find out all about labyrinths. My guest is the worldwide go-to expert on labyrinths, Lauren Artras. We film in the beautiful Grace Cathedral located in San Francisco. I'll see you then.